Greetings, fellow travelers through the cosmos of stories. Tonight we journey to the vibrant continent of Africa, a land teeming with life, both in its sprawling savannas and its captivating tales. For millennia, under a sky dusted with stars, stories have served as bridges between generations. These narratives, whispered around crackling fires, weave a rich tapestry of culture, wisdom, and imagination. They echo with the laughter of ancestors, the rustle of ancient leaves, and the rumble of distant thunderstorms. Folktales in particular hold a special place in this oral tradition. They are more than just stories, they are echoes of history, lessons for life, and mirrors to the soul. Passed down through countless voices, they carry the weight of shared experiences and the wisdom of ages. These tales, often featuring cunning animals imbued with human-like qualities, offer insights into human nature, societal values, and the delicate balance of the natural world. Imagine a time when animals spoke, when the sun and moon danced across the sky, and when magic wove itself into the very fabric of existence. In this realm of wonder, nestled amidst the rich tapestry of African folklore, lies the tale of how the tortoise lost its wings. This story, told and retold for generations, is not just about a shell-dwelling creature's aerial misadventures. It is a parable about the perils of greed, the importance of humility, and the interconnectedness of all living things. Our journey takes us to a time when the tortoise, contrary to its modern form, soared through the skies with magnificent wings. Picture this, a creature so accustomed to the slow, deliberate crawl, suddenly gifted with the freedom of the heavens. The wind whispering secrets through its feathers, the sun warming its shell, and the world spread out beneath it like a colorful map. But this gift, as we shall soon discover, became a source of both pride and downfall for our shelled protagonist. You see, the tortoise, despite its newfound ability, possessed a cunning nature and an insatiable appetite for more than its fair share. This combination, as you can imagine, would prove to be a recipe for disaster. The tale of the tortoise's lost wings serves as a cautionary reminder that our greatest strengths, when coupled with unchecked desires, can lead to our most crushing defeats. It urges us to consider the consequences of our actions and to approach life with a healthy dose of humility. So, gather around, dear listeners, and let us delve into this timeless tale, unraveling its layers of meaning and discovering the profound wisdom it holds. Now, in this time of wonder when animals conversed as we do, a great feast was announced high above the plains. All the creatures, great and small, received an invitation delivered on the wings of the wind. A grand gathering was to be held, a celebration of life and bounty, hosted by the spirits that dwelled in the heavens. The animals, buzzing with excitement, chattered amongst themselves, eager to partake in this grand event. The location, however, posed a predicament. The feast was to be held, not on the familiar grounds of the savannah, but upon a cloud, floating high above the world. This presented a significant challenge for many, as only those who could fly were invited to partake in the heavenly feast. The birds, naturally, rejoiced in their good fortune, preening their feathers and boasting about the delicacies they would enjoy. The tortoise, however, found himself in a state of both elation and anxiety. His newfound wings, a source of immense pride, now held the key to this magnificent feast. But a problem arose, one that often plagued our shell-bound friend, his insatiable appetite. You see, the tortoise was known far and wide for his love of food, a love that often outweighed his sense of reason. Determined to have his fill, the tortoise hatched a plan. He would host his own feast, a grand prelude to the heavenly banquet. He would invite all the creatures, especially those who couldn't fly, and, with feigned generosity, offer them a share of his own food. A cunning plan indeed, but one that veiled a selfish desire. The other animals, touched by the tortoise's seemingly kind gesture, readily accepted his invitation. They arrived at his humble abode, their mouths watering at the sight of the spread he had prepared. Mountains of fruits, glistening with dew, sat alongside freshly gathered nuts and berries. The aroma alone was enough to make their stomachs rumble with delight. The tortoise, basking in the glow of their admiration, announced with a flourish, "Friends, let us feast. Eat to your heart's content, and let us savor this moment before our grand ascent to the feast in the sky." The animals cheered, thanking the tortoise for his generosity. However, amidst the joyous clamor, a small voice piped up. It was the parrot, known for his sharp wit and keen observation. "But Tortoise," he chirped, tilting his head inquisitively, "how will you carry enough food for all of us to the feast in the sky?" The tortoise, momentarily stunned by the parrot's question, quickly regained his composure. He let out a hearty laugh, his voice booming across the gathered animals. "My dear parrot, always the inquisitive one, worry not, for I have devised a plan." He gestured with a sweep of his arm, drawing attention to his magnificent wings, now subtly tucked behind his shell. "These wings, you see, are not just for show. They are strong, capable of carrying more than you could imagine." The other animals gasped, their eyes wide with a mix of awe and naive trust. The tortoise, a master of manipulation, continued, "I propose a simple solution. Each of you shall offer me a small portion of your own food. I will then carry it all upon my back, ensuring that we have a plentiful supply at the feast in the sky." The other animals, swayed by the tortoise's seemingly selfless proposal, readily agreed. After all, he was the only one amongst them capable of carrying such a load. A wave of generosity washed over the gathering, each animal offering up their most prized delicacies. The monkey brought forth a bounty of ripe bananas, the zebra offered a selection of sweet grasses, and the giraffe, stretching its long neck, presented a collection of juicy leaves from the tallest trees. The tortoise, his heart swelling not with gratitude but with cunning satisfaction, piled the food upon his back. Higher and higher the mountain of offerings grew, a testament to his deceptive charm. Yet, beneath his feigned generosity, a seed of greed began to take root. As the animals loaded the last of their offerings onto the tortoise's back, the parrot, perched atop a nearby acacia tree, observed the scene with growing suspicion. He had borne witness to the tortoise's love of food on countless occasions, and something about his sudden generosity felt amiss. The parrot fluttered down to the ground, his sharp eyes scanning the tortoise's face. "Tortoise," the parrot began, his voice a cautious whisper, "are you sure you can carry all that weight? Perhaps we should lighten your load?" The tortoise, irritated by the parrot's persistent questioning, snapped back, "Nonsense, my feathered friend. Do you doubt the strength of my wings? I assure you this is but a trifle for one such as I." And so, with a mighty heave, the tortoise spread his wings and prepared for takeoff. The other animals cheered, their eyes filled with wonder and anticipation as their winged companion rose slowly into the air. The tortoise, weighed down by his secret bounty, struggled to gain altitude. His wings strained under the weight of his deception, his movements slow and labored. As they ascended, the aroma of the stolen feast wafted towards the heavens, a fragrant beacon carried on the wind. Little did the tortoise know, this act of greed and deceit would not go unnoticed. The spirits of the sky, their feast disrupted by this audacious act, watched with growing anger as the tortoise and his unwitting companions drew closer. The tortoise, with much effort and a few close calls, finally reached the cloud where the feast was laid out. The sight that greeted the animals was breathtaking. Imagine a tablecloth woven from the colors of the sunset, laden with delicacies beyond their wildest dreams. Fruits shimmered like gemstones, nuts glistened with honeyed dew, and the air itself hummed with the sweet music of celebration. The other animals, forgetting their fatigue, erupted in joyous cheers. They thanked the tortoise profusely, praising his strength and generosity. Unaware of the truth behind his motives, they showered him with compliments, their hearts filled with gratitude. The tortoise, basking in their admiration, allowed a smug smile to creep across his face. The heavenly feast commenced, a symphony of flavors and textures enjoyed by all. The animals shared stories, laughed together, and for a while all was well. The tortoise, however, couldn't bring himself to partake in the shared bounty. His mind, consumed by greed, was fixated on the secret stash he carried upon his back. As the other animals reveled in the joy of shared abundance, the tortoise quietly slipped away from the festivities. He found a secluded spot on the cloud, hidden from view by a cluster of fluffy white mounds. With a heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and guilt, he carefully unloaded his ill-gotten gains. Unbeknownst to the tortoise, his every move was being observed. The spirits of the sky, angered by his deceit, had been watching him from the moment he arrived. They had witnessed his feigned generosity, his manipulation of the other animals, and his blatant disregard for the spirit of sharing upon which the feast was founded. As the tortoise reached for the first morsel of his stolen bounty, a voice boomed across the cloud, shaking the very air around them. "Tortoise!" the voice thundered, echoing with the power of 1,000 storms. "Your greed has not gone unnoticed." The tortoise froze, his heart pounding in his chest. He slowly turned, his body trembling, to face the source of the voice. There, before him, stood 3 figures, their forms shifting and swirling like the clouds themselves. Their eyes, burning with righteous anger, seemed to pierce through the tortoise's very being. "Spirits of the sky," the tortoise stammered, his voice a mere whisper against the wind. I meant no disrespect. I only wanted to ensure that all who wished to partake in your glorious feast could do so." His words, however, rang hollow, even to his own ears. The spirits saw through his lies, his deception laid bare before their ancient wisdom. The lead spirit, his voice a symphony of crackling thunder and whispering wind, fixed his gaze upon the trembling tortoise. "Your intentions, tortoise, are as transparent as the air upon which you stand," he boomed. The other animals, drawn by the commotion, gathered around, their faces etched with confusion and a growing sense of unease. "You claim generosity," the spirit continued, his voice echoing across the cloud tops, "yet your heart is heavy with greed. You exploited the kindness of others, hoarding what was meant to be shared." The tortoise, his lies exposed, could only hang his head in shame. The weight of his deception, once carried upon his back, now pressed down upon his soul. Section 2. A Swift Descent. The other animals, aghast at the revelation of the tortoise's deceit, gasped in unison. The monkey, his face a mask of betrayal, shook his head in disbelief. The giraffe, her long neck lowered in sadness, let out a mournful sigh. Even the zebra, known for his jovial nature, stood in stunned silence. "For your transgression," the lead spirit declared, his voice laced with a solemn finality, "you are hereby stripped of your wings. No longer shall you soar among the clouds, your heart clouded by greed." And with a snap of the spirit's ethereal fingers, the tortoise's wings simply vanished. He plummeted towards the earth, his shell glinting under the unforgiving sun. Section 3. The Price of Greed. The other animals watched in horror as the tortoise fell, his cries for forgiveness swallowed by the wind. Down and down he tumbled, the earth rushing up to meet him with alarming speed. The spirits of the sky, their judgment passed, vanished as quickly as they had appeared, leaving the animals to ponder the harsh lesson they had just witnessed. The tortoise, his shell cracked but his life spared, landed with a thud on a bed of soft leaves. He lay there for a moment, stunned and disoriented, the world spinning around him. As he slowly regained his senses, the weight of his actions crashed down upon him with a force greater than any fall. He had flown too close to the sun, his wings melted not by heat but by greed. The tortoise, his body aching, his pride shattered, slowly picked himself up from the ground. He looked around at the world, now viewed from a much humbler perspective. The sky, once his playground, now seemed impossibly distant. The whispers of the wind, once carrying tales of freedom, now seemed to mock his downfall. He had coveted the heavens, only to find himself grounded by his own desires. From that day forward, the tortoise bore the physical and metaphorical scars of his greed. His once smooth, swift shell now carried the cracks and crevices of his fall from grace. His pace, never known for its speed, became even slower, a constant reminder of the swiftness with which pride can lead to ruin. And his wings, once a symbol of freedom and aspiration, were gone, lost in the pursuit of more than his fair share. The tale of the tortoise's lost wings, however, did not end with his fall. It echoed through the ages, carried on the winds of wisdom from one generation to the next. The animals who had witnessed his downfall, their hearts heavy with a mix of pity and caution, vowed to carry the lesson of his story with them. They understood that the tortoise's fate was not merely a punishment, but a stark reminder of the importance of humility, the perils of greed, and the true meaning of sharing. And so, the tale of how the tortoise lost its wings became more than just a story. It became a fable, a whispered warning against the allure of excess and the importance of gratitude for what we have. It served as a reminder that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the richness of our relationships, the strength of our communities, and the wisdom to appreciate the delicate balance of the natural world.